Hi, my name is Toby Pierce, and I'd like to share a devotional thought with you today. A while back, I was asked about fasting. What is fasting all about, and why does fasting seem to be the red-haired stepchild of the Christian walk? Well, let's start with what Jesus said about fasting. Beginning in Matthew chapter 6 and verse 16, Jesus said, "And when you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces, that their fasting may be seen by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." Jesus is not commanding that we fast, but there does seem to be an assumption that fasting is going to happen. He said, when you fast. 2 chapters before that, in Matthew chapter 4, we find Jesus fasting before he begins his own ministry. Well, let's talk about biblical fasting for a minute, but before that, I want to say a few words about fasting in general. First, there might be important medical reasons why you should not fast. If you have issues with regulating your blood sugar or other medical issues associated with your food intake, then it's important that you don't fast. Or if you do, that you only do so under medical supervision and guidance. Also, fasting is not meant to be a death by starvation. Fasting is a temporary thing. Second, we may fast because we are ill. A few days ago, I had a stomach ailment and was not able to eat. Well, that's not biblical fasting. Fasting is not to be physically focused, but spiritually focused. The aim of Christian fasting is not to lose weight or to punish your body. The focus of a true Christian fast is spiritual in nature. And then third, if fasting is done right, you wash your face, you keep your countenance up, other people won't even know that you're doing it. Well, there's exceptions to that. I mean, it's likely that your family will be aware that you're not eating. And sometimes many people in a congregation will come together and desire to fast in order to pray and focus on a particular cause or some kind of particular request for the Father. And we find that in Acts chapter 13, 1 through 3, and again in Acts 14 and verse 23. And it's important to know, too, that fasting doesn't force God to listen, and it doesn't make the person more righteous. Isaiah 58, chapter 58, and Zechariah chapter 7 both bear that out. It's a personal matter between you and God. You know, Zechariah prophesied that there would come a time when the need for fasting would end, at least for a while. Zechariah 8 and verse 19. And this prophecy was fulfilled while Jesus was here on the earth. He talks about that in Matthew chapter 9, verses 14 and 15. So what is biblical fasting all about, and should we do it? Well, fasting is a means of hungering after God. Fasting is for when something is more important to you than food. Something on your heart is more important to you than food. And fasting is a means of pouring out grief. We see that in 1 Samuel 31 and 2 Samuel chapter 1. Fasting is a means of showing humble submission to God. We see that in the people of Nineveh in Jonah chapter 3. And we see that again in Psalm 35, verses 12 through 14. Well, fasting means personal sacrifice, and it's sometimes done so that you can share what you gave up to feed and clothe someone else who is in need. We see that again in Isaiah 58, and indeed, Isaiah 58 is a great summary of what fasting is all about. Well, how should I fast? The Bible gives very little insight into how a Christian should fast. The specifics are really left up to you. There are many different kinds of fasts. One can fast completely, no food, only water, or for specific parts of the day, maybe from sun up to sundown, like the Jews used to. You could skip lunch to spend some extra time in prayer and to focus on God. You can even give up specific foods for a certain time. Well, how long should a fasting period last? What specific events and decisions should I fast for? Well, all of that is left up to you. There are different types and different lengths of fasts mentioned in the Bible. The goals of fasting really come down to sacrifice, humility before God, a focus on God, and a recognizing dependence on the Lord, or a desire to focus on an important issue that means more to you than even food. Prayer is tightly coupled with fasting. We see prayer coupled with most of the examples that we see of fasting in God's Word. And again, fasting is not to be physically focused. It's to be done with a focus upon God. If you're viewing this devotional on a Saturday morning that it's supposed to be posted, well, you'll know that that's the Saturday morning of our men's breakfast. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of fasting going on today. But if you're looking for another biblical way to enhance your relationship with God, consider a short fast. Hope you have a blessed day.
If you would like more information, or if you'd like to participate in our Bible studies and worship services, we would love to have you come join us at the Northeast Church of Christ in Albuquerque, New Mexico.